If your shoes are too big, you're getting blisters or you're losing them. And even if you get the delegation right, you don't delegate a task, but you delegate a responsibility, there's a follow-up mistake that you can make. And this is a mistake about the levers of delegation. So let's have a look at that and see what you can do better in order to get it right. The last video we learned, delegation is a process of personal development for your employees. It's about making them more competent, making them better, and making sure that they grow in their jobs. Why? Because employees that grow in their jobs and learn more are more happy and more satisfied employees. They like their jobs. They stay longer in the job because they know they learn things, and that is very important for employees to have. So on a retention level, it's very important. But also, it's making sure that you have better employees over time, which keeps your back free for the most important leadership things, strategic tasks, for example, leadership tasks, or whatever it might be. Now, if you delegate, there's basically different layers of delegation, and we tend to not look at it too differentiatedly, and that is a mistake. So, of course, the first thing that many people do when they delegate, they don't delegate actually at all. They just do it themselves. They go with all the concerns that we talked about. They go like, yeah, I just do it myself. Now, the first level of delegation is delegation with support. And this is something where you are going into a process support. That is the first level. That is actually so-called delegation. It is where you sit together with the employee and walk them through, and you're sitting in with the employee throughout the process. So kind of the first time where you give a bigger task to somebody, you sit with them, you walk them through, you have them do it while you supervise it. Some aspects you do, some aspects you have that one doing, the employee doing, you give feedback, you give maneuver critique, and you optimize the learning process for the employee. Now, the next level would be delegation with process control. So you're not in the process and really creating it together with the employee. So what you do is you tell the employee, make a list of things that you're doing. Make a project planning and plan out the process of reaching the goal. What do you do first? What do you do then? What do you do then? And if you're having a meeting, what will your agenda be? And you don't go in there with the employee, but you control whether the process that the employee uses to reaching the goals is qualified in order to reach the goal. Now, in the process is number 2, supervising the creation of the process and making sure that it can work is level number 3. From there on, we go to level number 4, and that is delegation with result control. And you can do final result control, which would be kind of 4.2, the bigger chunk. You can also do interim control, like checking on milestones. So if you go, the employee, every 3 weeks, I want to have an update. And because every 3 weeks, I think you reach a milestone, and I want to double check if you reached the milestone. That would be interim result control. If you go like, the employee, here you have the responsibility. In the end, before you send it out, for example, to the client or to the next colleague, I want to double check the quality. And then you control, at the end, you do a end result control. And then, 5th step, finally, we are having delegation without any feedback. It's delegating and forgetting. It's like, the employee, you do that, you fix it, you have it full under control, and I don't want to hear anything about it anymore because I know it's gonna be working. Now, you know what happens if you start way too early and throw something to the employee that should be at level 2 or 3 and you give it with him at a level 5, right? Like, here, you fix it, please. And in many cases, we don't do that because we think it's a smart idea. In many cases, we do that because we as leaders were too overwhelmed, too much on our desk. We know we should check in, but we don't have time to check in. We don't take the time to check in. And then it goes south from there. Now, the interesting structure here is what we can do is we can put it into a diagram here. So doing it yourself, support, process control, result control, milestones, final result, and delegate and forget. Now, those are the levels. Now, what we can do is we can have a look at what is the logic behind it here now. So the first thought is Well, how much effort will it take for you personally in order to get the job done? And now we assume that it's major projects that you're delegating and things that you would delegate on an annual scale to your employees. Now, doing it yourself is a lot of work, right? And just supporting somebody in the process is less work, but still more than just controlling whether the process is appropriate. And milestone result is more work than final result controlling, and delegating and forgetting is the least work, right? But also we can ask the question, where do you have the highest risk? The highest risk that you're getting a work result that you don't really like, that there's something gone wrong, and maybe even something gone wrong and you don't realize it in the first place. And that is another axis. This is the risk axis. Now, of course, if you look here, if you do it yourself, you have hardly any risk that you get a result that is different from the result that you would have produced, right? And if you fuck it up, you know why, right? So you can blame yourself. Now with support, you have a higher risk that something is happening that you don't like, but still a lot of effort. The risk is increasing, and also the effort is decreasing. Now here's kind of a sweet spot, and maybe here is a sweet spot, and the fewer colleagues you have in here with that kind of delegation, and the more colleagues you have in here with that quality of delegation, of course, you know, the lower is your effort. So what do you then need to do? It's actually two things. The first thought is, well, staying here is actually also risky, because if you have everything on your agenda yourself, you will drop a ball. If you're juggling with too many balls, you will drop one further or later, right? Down the line, you'll drop a ball. So this is actually also some kind of risk. It's a different risk, but this is not where we want to be. We are managers and leaders. That's why we want to manage and lead and not do things ourselves. Now, the more we move over, the more we get into a realm where we have a better combination. And the more we have also free time to do management and strategic things, and also to develop people. The more we have time to develop people, the further down the line we get into the right side here, where we can in the end delegate and forget, because we are sure that a reliable employee has it on the agenda and will escalate it if it won't work. Now, it's the personal development that will take the risk here, grab it and pull it down. Having trained the employees and making sure that they are on track and that they know what to do, because you develop them to do that. This is the thing to reduce your effort, and as well make sure that the risk is down. Then you have a lot of time to develop people, to do strategic things, to do networking, to do leadership, and everything else that you need to do to get everything up and running, and can be the buffer for any kind of incidents and things that happen that you need to take care of. So this is why we need to emphasize again, delegation is a development process for employees. It's not a tool. We need to develop more and more employees starting here and develop them over here over the time, and have personal development for them so that they can actually finish the tasks with low risk in terms of quality and reliability of the result. Now, how do you do that? Well, the tool to do that, I'll show you in the next video.